Good morning, Aunt Aiden. How you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well today. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Isn't it a lovely day outside?
Actually, we've been having some pretty chilly weather, so I'm hopeful to stay a little warmer.
That's good. That's As you know, the main reason that I brought you in here today is to kind of check in on you. This is actually our second time checking in with you. Last time we met was towards the beginning of the semester, so we're just going to go ahead and check in on you to see how everything's progressing. So how has everything been?
Everything's been going well as of now. Luckily, the semester's kind of winding down, and I'm focusing a lot more on my kind of job search and ending these courses strong. So as of right now, I'm just most worried about finding that perfect role and just tidying up the things I have going on.
Okay. For the sake of conversation, what is currently your major?
So I'm a business information systems major, and I'm a junior as of right now.
Okay. So from what I understand, you're thinking about what are you thinking about taking in the next semester?
So this upcoming semester is going to be my senior year, and what senior year enables me to do is I can actually start taking my capstones, my senior projects. And so, believe it or not, this upcoming semester I'm finishing off all my general university requirements, as well as I'm taking my humanities capstone. So as of right now, my next semester is actually much less technical than my normal semesters are.
Okay.
But at the same time, I'm also happy to check off all those last requirements.
Okay. So where are those classes that you're thinking about taking?
So I know for a fact I'm taking HRM 403, I believe is the humanities capstone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking a marketing class, marketing 390. I know for a fact I'm taking a law and ethics. I'm also taking a business. What's the specific business? I think it's like business processes. One of those classes. It's a 390 class.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm online. I'm taking a proof of concept kind of. Honestly, I can get back to you on that. And then lastly, I have a gym class, individualized fitness. I know
Okay. Wow. All right. So it seems like you have everything down packed, right?
Hopefully.
So in terms of other areas, such as, let's say, for example, career, how are you thinking towards career?
Actually, it's a good question you ask because as a junior, I really am starting to look for those serious internships that'll be able to kind of structure where I'm going in the next couple of years. As for my career, if you're asking how maybe confident I am or how my expectations are as of right now,
I would say more so your expectations, yes.
I'm really hopeful that with these courses, they can give me that true understanding of what's going on in terms of classes and what I need to know for the future. Specifically, the technical classes I've been taking have been showcasing languages that I'll be using, and it's been really building to see that whether it's the R programming language I'm using that I know for a fact the major corporations around Newark are using to do these data analytics or business analytics. I do feel confident that my technical knowledge is strong. The only concern I am having as of right now is just simply getting my foot in the door and starting off. Because as of right now, while I have had internships, they're nowhere near the kind of roles I want to be doing.
Okay. Now, what do you think has been the challenge for you?
So, just speaking person to person, it's actually been a little concerning because I can't really identify a true problem. I like to believe I can, dictate what I'm saying. I like to believe I can, show up on time. I'm timely. I'm kind of responsible. However, I can usually get to the round 2 interview when I interview at, for example, Prudential, when I interview at, for example, Cisco. I've been doing really well and giving it my all. However, I don't usually make it past the second round interview, and that's something I'm truly trying to work on. I mentioned beforehand, next week I'm going to be interviewing with Prudential, and as of right now, I already am, and I know they clear well stated in their email to me offering the time slot that it's going to be star interview method, it's going to be all these things, and while I have done that in the past, I'm going to practice up and do everything I can to make this interview a success. So
yeah, well, I understand this is more of the round for us to talk about your coursework. But speaking of my experience that I've work with students in terms of career advisement as well, I would definitely say that you want to hone in on experiences that you can talk on. So when we talk about the STAR method, as from what I understand, you are familiar with the STAR method. Okay. So what are some key challenges that you're facing with the STAR method?
I wouldn't say mostly it's the how you say the specifically how I use the STAR method. It might just be the experiences I used. So honestly, if this is appropriate, would you like to just give me maybe a question you think I could elaborate? Maybe testing out the STAR method just
Sure.
as an example.
All right. So let's utilize this. Describe to me a time where you provide a solution to an employer.
Sure. So I'm currently employed as a resident assistant over here in Cypress Hall, and as a resident assistant, we're in charge of our 58 freshmen. But then also, I have 13 other direct resident assistant coworkers, RAs, and we all are directly working under our supervisor. What Christina does is every week we have our weekly staff meeting, and between the RA coworkers, we will be able to come up with solutions and just identify the problems going on throughout the week. To answer your question, one of the situations that really put me at a disadvantage was when our supervisor, she would put the meeting agendas online, but she refused to print them out. She thought it was not a very appropriate method or a very effective approach. So one day after one of the meetings, and this was actually a meeting where she gave out a lot of dates, I had stepped aside after the meeting and asked her, "Hey, Christina, I understand, it's really important to save paper. I completely understand that. But is there any way we'd be able to get these dates in a hard copy rather than just an email?" At least for me, and at least for the coworkers I spoke to, it seemed really building to more so have the dates as a physical copy because it allowed us to look at it. And believe it or not, she was quite responding, and she took that as a personal. She was happy to learn. So by the very next meeting, she actually did have printed out hard copies of the dates we needed as well as upcoming things. And as far as I can tell, it was actually a very large success. So I'm very happy I was able to bring that up with her because we were able to better structure, better respond to each other.
Okay. All right. So it looks like you have a good idea of how the STAR method works. As you know, the STAR method stands for scenario, task, action, result, right? I would say that's a little too long for description.
And I agree. Yep.
You kind of want to give a short synopsis of the scenario or of the environment that you're working in to kind of get leeway into what the scenario you're going to utilize for this question. It's very important for you to try to pick out as many scenarios as possible that can fit the setting of the question. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind of when we're talking about like STAR method is it's always the approach to the answer that's more important than the answer itself. So if they see that you're utilizing a certain approach, which is the STAR method, of course, to kind of project your level of efficiency as well as your decision making and critical thinking, because these are going to be three traits and others as well that will kind of enhance your chances to really being selected, because they want to see someone that can ultimately make great decisions on the spot or conduct action that will be the most effective within a certain time frame. So you kind of want to make sure that you're giving a brief description of the scenario and then just going straight into what the company or industry you're working in is, and then leeway into the STAR method, which is the scenario, the task, the action, and the result. And you want to make sure that it produces effective results, because you want to demonstrate that you can provide positive and effective results for them, so that they can be able to rely on you for when tasks need to be completed within a certain time frame. If you can deliver, is ultimately what they're going to be looking for. So kind of one of the best ways to navigate through that is kind of just minimizing the amount of info you provide at the beginning for the brief synopsis. And I'll also want to make sure that you want to go ahead and provide that information straightforward without giving too much backstory. So don't provide a little bit of backstory, but not too much where it kind of floats them away from the intention of your main approach or the main focus of your answer, which is the scenario, the task, the action, and the result of the scenario you chose.
Sure.
Okay. Does that make any sense to you? Are there any particular any additional questions that may arise from this?
The one thing I will bring up is I really like what you said about it's not so much the result, but as it is the approach to the result. Speaking a little bit more about the example I gave, you're exactly right. When I actually prefaced that with quite a few bits of information. Like, in fact, I probably shouldn't even have said my supervisor's name, but it's not really an issue. But certainly the approach to the result, I could have definitely highlighted more being proactive, reaching out to my supervisor, following up with her, kind of in the different ways that I was able to actively engage and kind of be upfront with her. So I feel that I definitely could have focused on those more. So thank you for saying that. Very true.
Yeah. And actually, it is very important. It is important when you mention a person's name, when you name drop.
Yeah.
That's definitely not something you want to do, because when you name drop, you don't know who's gonna be on the other end, on the receiving end of that, because that person can know someone who is the higher up that you report to, and you won't know it until it's too late. So you kind of want to be mindful of who you name drop, because you never know if someone on that panel or on that committee knows someone from your job, and they can go back and be like, well, this person had such a bad experiences, which is why it's very important that you want to build bridges more so than burning them, because burning them is something you definitely don't want to do, especially when you're establishing a network, But yeah, we can definitely, talk more on that as we go along here. How are things going on in your involvement on campus? How is that looking for you?
Yeah, that's going pretty well so far. Luckily, as the semester is winding down, that also means my organizational activities have to wind down. I'm president of the Residence Hall Association, so I have an e-board of 9 other members and $20,000 to spend throughout the year. And I'm happy to say that our budget's winding down, and also the amount of programs we have left are winding down. So it's kind of nice to almost kind of ease into the end of the semester. So at our weekly meetings, we usually discuss our upcoming events, and we have to very quickly track what's going on. But I'm happy to say that as of now, we've slowed enough that I can confidently ask them to delegate other tasks. So it's nice to finish up the tasks we started and end the year strong.
Okay. Well, since you're very involved on campus, can you name me a couple of the organizations that you're a part of?
Sure. So I'm a part of Student Senate. I'm in the Information Systems Club, and specifically I run the weekly RHA meetings as the president. So I try really hard to either be a face or a kind of a portion of the chain of command that students can speak to, because I like to be involved and I like to make a difference where I see fit.
Okay. Is there any areas that you like most about it, that you least like about it? Tell me a little bit about that.
To be fair, one of the things that I find oddly satisfying is when it'll just be, whether it's in a social context, everyone's talking, and someone comes up with an issue. Oh, I needed to ask this question. I don't know much about this system. How does this department function? What is the appropriate steps for submitting this document, or making this suggestion? I really like it when someone's able to say, hey, wait a second, Aiden's done that. You should ask Aiden. And then I can actively kind of, guide them in the ways that I know, whether it's sending them an email of what I did, whether it's structuring some way that we can both all right, I see that suggestion. If you want to, shoot your proposal to me, I can make sure it's looking good and we can send it together, or I can just simply give you feedback on it. It's up to you. So I'm happy to be a guideline, or more so a team member.
Okay. All right. So it looks like from what I understand, it seems like everything's falling into place. You have upcoming interviews, and it looks like in terms of classes, you're doing, you have everything set up for that. And again, just as a reminder, this is a check-in with you and I. This is a check-in. Just want to make sure that you're, staying on top of everything. And yeah, and it's really good to hear that you're one step closer to graduation. So when you graduate next year, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the plan. That's the plan.
The plan is for next year. Okay. And then ultimately, when we talk about career, well, going back to career real quick for a second, do we know what industry we want to go into?
So with my business information systems, I have both the back end kind of programming technical knowledge as well as the front end teamwork, business, kind of analytical side of things. Specifically, what my past internship was more upfront business. I was helping do the analytics and share my results with the professional staff that I worked alongside.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that I really do like kind of working and sharing ideas and collaborating with other departments.
Okay.
So I am hopeful to kind of go into the more business organizational role. So definitely with my technical background, I know I'm going to be able to structure and best use that in like maybe a customer service or client services position, because there's always going to be tasks and kind of that analytical side there. But I certainly want to work with people, and I feel my past experiences have primed me for that.
Okay. Wow. Well, it seems like you have that. You have that. You have that idea of. You have the idea of what it means to now have a set goal for your career, and I hope that with all of this that's going on right now for you, that you find the position that's a fit. That's the key word we're looking for here, fit, because it's very important for people to have a fit when it comes to career. So it will be something that you'll have to look into as you're progressing further into your senior year. But for the most part, it seems like we have a plan for next semester. We have a plan for the fall semester, and you're going to implement taking these courses.
Yeah.
You're going to implement getting an internship opportunity that aligns more with your career aspirations, and we're going to wind down on our campus experiences.
Yeah.
All
definitely.
right. But do you have any questions or have any concerns before we wrap up today's session?
At the moment, no, Jose. You did actually a really good job, and the advice you were able to give based on the kind of the STAR method that I really do want to learn and kind of practice more. I'll be honest, I hadn't actually actively thought about the STAR method recently, so I'm happy to at least give it a go. But definitely, I'm thankful for the words you shared, and as of right now, no more questions.
Okay, perfect. So I'll be looking forward to hearing from you soon. As you know, this is a monthly check-in with you. I know we've been very busy this week, so this is only like our second meeting, I believe. Yeah. So we haven't been able to meet as much, but I'm glad to hear that everything's going well with you. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you again, hopefully before the end of the semester.
Sure thing. Thank you, Jose.
All right. Well, you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You too. Appreciate it.